Rebbe Melekh Hamashiach Yehoshua Minzaret, also known as O Messias Jesus Christus, appeared to most simply to have been a young 1st century CE Romanioti Hasidian Jewish preacher and religious leader in the Holy Land. His life and teachings have been a subject of fascination and reverence for centuries, shrouded in both historical documentation and mystical interpretations. His biography and teachings are recorded in Romaniot language literature of the same century, providing a glimpse into his profound influence on his contemporaries and the generations that followed. The Roman Church made it illegal from the mid-4th century onwards for Romaniotes to teach anything about him, a move that sought to suppress his influence and control the narrative surrounding his life and teachings. This led to the phrase, "those who know don't say," "those who say don't know," among Jewish Gnostics, highlighting the secretive nature of the knowledge about him that was preserved within certain circles. After that, only Toshav groups who were also threatened by the Roman Church continued to look to such Yiddi, or Gnostic Jews, for guidance on this issue. These groups maintained a clandestine tradition, passing down teachings and insights through generations despite the risks involved. Besides 26 1st century Romaniot language texts on his life and doctrine, which offer a detailed account of his teachings and actions, a Hebrew record of his biography and teachings known as Hebrew Matityahu has also survived into the present, providing an additional layer of historical context and insight. Along with a handful of oblique references to him as Yeshua Sahafanim in the Mishnah, these texts collectively paint a picture of a complex and influential figure. His legally paternal grandfather was called Jacob Pantera, according to Epiphanius, quoting Origen, a detail that adds to the intricate web of his familial and historical background, but who might have been confused by Celsus, illustrating the challenges in piecing together accurate historical accounts from ancient sources. His disciples were sent to deal with the followers of his step-nephew Ploni Yeshu Hanotzri ben Stada, a figure who also played a significant role in the religious landscape of the time, son of his disciple Miriam Magdala and his stepbrother Joses Pantera during the reign of the house of Abedan. This connection further complicates the historical narrative, intertwining personal and religious histories. Hence, Rebbe Jesus is not to be confused with his step-nephew Ploni Yeshu Hanotzri ben Stada, a distinction that is crucial for understanding the different roles and influences of these figures. Ploni Yeshu Hanotzri ben Stada has been written about with respect by various Qahal-Edahs opposed to the disciples of Rebbe Yehoshua Minzaret, indicating the diverse perspectives within Jewish thought. Virtually all modern scholars of antiquity agree that Jesus existed historically, a consensus that underscores the enduring impact of his life and teachings. Jesus was a Galilean Jew who went through Tevila under the supervision of John the Matbil and began his own ministry, marking the start of a transformative journey that would change the course of history. His teachings were initially conserved by oral transmission, and he himself was often referred to as Rabbi, a title that reflects his role as a teacher and spiritual leader. Jesus debated with fellow Jews on how to best follow God, engaged in healings, taught in parables, and gathered followers. His approach was both revolutionary and deeply rooted in Jewish tradition. He was arrested and tried by the Beit Shammai Sanhedrin, a pivotal moment that would lead to his ultimate sacrifice. Turned over to the Roman government and crucified on the order of Pontius Pilate, the Roman prefect of Jerusalem. His death marked a significant event in both religious and historical contexts. After his death, his followers believed he rose from the dead, a belief that became a cornerstone of the faith that would eventually spread across the world. Out of the community they formed, eventually the early church emerged, laying the foundation for what would become one of the world's major religions. Both Jewish theology, or Kabbalah, and the New Testament hold that God communicates the sublime interrelationships of his various components to limited human beings in terms they can understand from their own experience. This concept bridges the gap between the divine and the human, making the ineffable accessible. The overarching narrative in Jewish theology is that the infinite, radically transcendent Ein Sof, or endless one, is revealed through the Sephirot, a series of divine emanations that make the unknowable aspects of God knowable. Sephirot are vessels or spheres related to the Creator as reflections of the light emanating from the Source, each representing a different aspect of the divine. They are the 10 most common names for the varying aspects of divinity, each name offering a unique perspective on the nature of God. Though they are one with the Creator, they are also the Creator's garments and the beams of light which it sends out, illustrating the dynamic relationship between the divine and its manifestations. The singular Sephira shares a root with the word sipur, communication or telling, emphasizing the role of these divine emanations in conveying the mysteries of the divine to humanity. The Sephirot are thus seen as the aspects or attributes of the Creator by means of which deity communicates with creation, serving as a bridge between the infinite and the finite. Nachmanides, who lived from 1194 to 1270, holds that the Shekinah can mitgashem, or incarnate, in an anthropomorphic shape, a concept that adds a tangible dimension to the divine presence. As an Ashkenazic tradition has it, know that an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire out of a bush. Exodus 3:2 refers to God himself. This interpretation underscores the direct interaction between the divine and the human. Sometimes the title Melekh HaKavod, or Angel of the Glory, is linked to the Shekinah in Kabbalistic texts, as the relationship between Shekinah and Kavod is as bride and groom, symbolizing a profound union. The term Metatron, described as the youth, the angel of the glory, and the body of the Shekinah, comes from metata, a Romanian word for precursor or forerunner, the same word used of Yehoshua in Hebrews 6:20. This term encapsulates the role of Metatron as a guide and intermediary. It means Lord, leader, guide, one who shows the way or goes in advance, reflecting the multifaceted role of this figure in guiding and leading the faithful. The explanation of "they saw the glory of God," Exodus 24:10, given by Rabbi Jose, is evocative of the New Testament passages describing Yehoshua as the radiance of the Kavod, Hebrews 1:3, highlighting the continuity and connection between Jewish and Christian theological concepts. And as the forerunner, ministering high priest in the heavenly tabernacle upon which Moses modeled the sanctuary, Hebrews 6:20 to 8:5, Yeshua's role is seen as integral to the divine plan. The name Minzaret is a Western Syriac way of saying "from Nazareth," a detail that roots Rebbe Yehoshua Minzaret firmly in his geographical and cultural context. It is to remind people that there is no way that Har Notzri could ever refer to Jesus of Nazareth, a distinction that is crucial for understanding the historical and theological nuances. Credits: script by Hakam Joe, narration by AI, produced by Yuri.